Welcome to MoneydocuTv, a channel dedicated to entrepreneurs who risked it all to create today's most iconic brands. Let's get started. Born on March 3, 1882, in the picturesque hills of Italy, Charles Ponzi entered a world that would eventually succumb to his cunning and audacious financial schemes. Raised in a family that had once thrived as merchants and public officials, Ponzi's early years were marred by the family's financial decline. Despite being the son of a hard-working postman, Ponzi harbored dreams of a life of opulence and resented the societal shift that relegated him to the working class. Inheriting a modest sum of money after his father's passing, Ponzi had a choice: honor his mother's wish for him to attend college or indulge in the extravagant lifestyle of his wealthy peers. Opting for the latter, he squandered his inheritance on high-end fashion, fine dining, and lavish nights at the theater, opera, and casino. The illusion of affluence, however, was short-lived. Ponzi's funds dwindled, and his neglect of studies left him without a degree. Although offered a humble clerk position by his uncle, Ponzi's disdain for ordinary work led him down a different path. Little did the world know that this refusal would set in motion a series of events, ultimately giving rise to the infamous Ponzi scheme, a legacy that would inspire generations of swindlers in the dark underbelly of the financial world. Convinced that menial labor was beneath him, Ponzi embarked on a daring journey to America in 1903, fueled by a desperate desire to redeem himself and return to Italy as a wealthy man. However, the harsh reality of America shattered his illusions. The inheritance money and support from relatives vanished, leaving Ponzi with no choice but to take on various physically demanding jobs, from sign painter to grocery clerk, insurance salesman to sewing machine repairman. His propensity for cheating and dishonesty led to a string of short-lived employment opportunities. Desperation pushed Ponzi to resort to stealing and begging for survival, sleeping in parks to endure the hardships of his new life. The carefree days of being a high roller in Rome were a distant memory. Even when he managed to accumulate some cash, he squandered it on extravagant nights out, yearning for the opulence of his past. In 1907, Ponzi sought refuge in Montreal, securing a job at Banco Zarossi, a bank catering to Italian immigrants. Ironically, it was the same kind of job he had scorned in Rome, but years of struggle had humbled him. However, the newfound stability was short-lived, as his boss engaged in a fraudulent scheme, using funds from new clients to pay off older ones. When the bank failed to send money to clients' relatives, an investigation ensued, and Ponzi's boss fled to Mexico, leaving Ponzi to face the aftermath. Unwilling to confront the consequences, Ponzi planned to return to the United States but committed a grave error. Before leaving, he forged a check from the Canadian warehousing company, leading to his arrest. Sentenced to 3 years in St. Vincent's de Paul Penitentiary, this incarceration marked only the beginning of Ponzi's criminal exploits. After serving a mere 2 years, Ponzi was eager to resume his activities on American soil. After serving another 2-year sentence for smuggling 5 undocumented Italian immigrants into the country in a desperate attempt to make quick money, Ponzi found himself at a crossroads upon his release. Pleading guilty in the hopes of a lenient sentence, he was dismayed when the judge handed down another 2-year prison term, this time in a federal prison in Atlanta. Upon release, Ponzi faced the daunting challenge of rebuilding his life. Despite concocting numerous plans for wealth and success while incarcerated, he lacked the essential ingredient: money. Traveling from state to state, he took odd jobs to make ends meet. Eventually, he secured a steady position as a clerk with the Junior Pool Company in Boston, marking a turning point in his life. Ponzi's diligence and competence led to a promotion, and amidst this newfound stability, he crossed paths with 21-year-old Rose Necco. The two fell deeply in love, marrying in early 1918. Despite the positive changes, Ponzi couldn't shake off a sense of inadequacy. Desiring to provide a lavish life for Rose, he quit his job, searching for a new venture that would catapult him to unprecedented wealth. His initial attempt to save his father-in-law's failing wholesale fruit business ended in bankruptcy. Undeterred by this setback, Ponzi remained determined to prove himself as a financial genius, driven by a fervent desire to offer his wife a life beyond their humble means. Faced with setbacks in his import-export business, Ponzi refused to accept that he was the problem. Convinced that advertising was the key, he attempted to publish his own trade magazine, The Trader's Guide. Despite lacking experience in publishing, Ponzi sent out the first issue to 100,000 companies, doubling the circulation with each subsequent release. His plan was to earn $80,000 in advertising income, but the reality was starkly different. Companies showed little interest in his obscure magazine, shattering his dreams. Almost out of money, Ponzi sought a loan from his local bank, only to be flatly refused by the president. Undeterred, his relentless hunger for success persisted. In August 1919, a letter from Spain caught his attention. Back when he envisioned the Trader's Guide as the next big thing in advertising, Ponzi had reached out to foreign companies, and at least one Spanish company expressed interest. The letter, accompanied by an international reply coupon, IRC, opened Ponzi's eyes to a new opportunity. This revelation marked Ponzi's entry into the world of arbitrage. The IRC, a means of prepaid postage exchange within the Universal Postal Union, became Ponzi's golden ticket to unimaginable wealth. Recognizing the potential for profit, Ponzi was poised to take advantage of the price difference in various markets, and, armed with this newfound understanding, he was ready to embark on a venture that would shake the financial world. The winds of fortune had shifted, and Ponzi was prepared to seize the opportunity. In a tale of financial deceit, Charles Ponzi's second venture, initiated with opulent first-class trips, faced skepticism within 6 months. Despite early investors receiving payments, doubts regarding the venture's legitimacy grew. Fear of liable lawsuits silenced many critics who hesitated to challenge Ponzi, a man who had previously successfully sued a financial analyst for accusations of dishonesty. The Boston Post, once a supporter of Ponzi's apparent financial genius, initiated an investigation. Clarence Barron, president of Dow Jones and Wall Street Journal manager, uncovered the glaring flaws in Ponzi's scheme. Barron's calculations revealed that Ponzi would have needed to purchase a staggering 160 million international reply coupons, while only 27,000 existed worldwide. The Boston Post published Barron's findings on the front page, triggering a government investigation. To allay officials' concerns, Ponzi cooperated and halted new investments. However, his downfall came with the hiring of William McMasters as his publicist. Unlike Ponzi, McMasters was an honest man who delved into Ponzi's records, collecting evidence and writing a Pulitzer Prize-winning article for the Boston Post, exposing Ponzi's fraudulent secrets. The scheme collapsed, leading to multiple bank bankruptcies and devastating losses for thousands of investors. Facing 86 counts of mail fraud, Ponzi struck a deal by pleading guilty to a single charge, securing a relatively lenient 5-year sentence. Despite pilfering an estimated $15 million equivalent to $220 million today, the unprecedented speed of Ponzi's swindle set his case apart. Following 3.5 years behind bars, Ponzi emerged seemingly transformed. However, upon release, he ventured into another scheme, establishing the Sharp On Land Syndicate in Florida. Promising a 200% return in just 90 days, Ponzi aimed to entice investors, but this time, his once effective charm faltered, leading to the swift exposure of the fraudulent endeavor. In a desperate bid to escape a looming prison term, Ponzi resorted to disguising himself as a sailor, seeking refuge in Italy. However, his attempt to elude authorities failed when he was recognized and arrested in New Orleans. Despite his dire circumstances, Ponzi reached out to President Calvin Coolidge and pleaded with Mussolini for assistance, but neither leader intervened on behalf of the man responsible for widespread financial havoc. Stripped of his once flourishing wealth, charismatic charm, and confidence, Ponzi faced the grim prospect of deportation to Italy. Adding to his woes, his wife chose to sever ties, opting for a divorce and leaving him with no familial support. The final chapter of Ponzi's tumultuous life unfolded in poverty in Rio de Janeiro, where he spent his last years. His journey concluded in 1949 in a charity hospital, marking the end of a once great but ultimately disastrous financial scheme. Ponzi was laid to rest in a pauper's grave, sealing the fate of one of the most notorious rags-to-riches-to-rags stories in history. We really hope you enjoyed today's video, The Biggest Scammer in History. Be sure to leave a like and comment below on what you loved about our video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss another great video. Until next time, we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Remember, no dream is too big.